Awaken to hair growth. Awaken to hair growth because there is possibility to get your hair back. Awaken to hair growth because we're not told that we're able to conquer and overcome alopecia. Awaken to hair growth because I want to be a positive light and beacon for you because I've healed my alopecia and now I help others do the same with different types of alopecia, men, women, children of all ages, of all races and ethnicities. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Alopecia Angel podcast, Awaken to Hair Growth. Today, we're talking about diet, and diet is the first thing that most people like to change, like to dabble into, like to research when it comes to alopecia or really any autoimmune disease or even, for hair loss or, we'll eat for hair growth or this or that. And let me just tell you, if you didn't listen to episode 2, I guess you'll hear it now. Diet alone will not heal your alopecia. Diet alone will not take care of your hair loss. Why is that? Because as I mentioned in episode 1, alopecia is a big puzzle, and there's tons of puzzle pieces for this puzzle, for you to see full hair growth, for you to see all of it come about. And so because of that, diet alone will not do it. It's not the one pony trick. It needs more. It needs much more than just diet. Diet is important, but it's not everything, right? If it was everything, we wouldn't be here. And you would have healed a long time ago, I'm sure. And what I also want to say is that with diet, not one size fits all. And I say this because in my program, we cater and tailor and customize the program to everyone's diet. You wouldn't believe, but everyone has a different diet, right? Especially maybe what they're starting with. You have vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, you have meat eaters, you have people who don't eat beef, you have people who, are kosher, you have all these different types of diets. And again, this is why one size does not fit all. And so in the Hair and Heal program, this is where we customize it for you because you can't expect everyone to eat the same or, to do things in the same manner. And not just that, but I've told you before that I've healed children as I have adults. And children, depending how old they are, their diet tends to be a little bit different. And so you also need to consider that. This is also why the customization portion of the program is so crucial, because without it being customized, you can't start. You really can't. And if you do start without a custom approach, without a tailored approach, then you might be missing out on a bunch of things that could be hindering your hair growth or could be holding you back. Not necessarily blind spots like last time, but just that you need that extra step of really getting this evaluation in there. So diet alone will not heal your hair growth. And when it comes to healing hair growth and hair loss, it's not just one thing. A lot of times when I explain what I do to others and I say, hey, I help people with alopecia, I help them regain their hair growth and their health back in less time. They're like, oh, what is it? Just stress? And I'm like, no, it's not necessarily just stress. Stress could be a factor, but it's not the end all be all. And that's just it. We can't treat any one factor as the end all be all because it's not. Because if you don't know by now, everything is connected. Everything is connected, and it's connected in multiple ways. And depending where you live, this could also be a situation where, again, it needs to be tailored to you. The clients in Australia versus the UK versus South Africa versus Canada versus the United States versus Malaysia versus the Netherlands versus, Germany or Egypt or Morocco. It's all very different. So you need to customize for that. It's just, you have to. There's no other way around it. And what I find sometimes is that there's a very small percentage of people who say, well, I've done every diet under the sun. I've done, this diet and that diet, and I've taken out so many different food groups, and I have allergies, or I have this, or I have that, and nothing's worked. And again, what I'll tell you is that diet alone will not heal alopecia. And for those of you who are dietitians or nutritionists or who are personal trainers, I 100% understand where you're coming from. You think you understand diet and food and macronutrients and micronutrients so much more than the average population. And I get that 100%. But what I will tell you, and what I'll tell everyone else, is that when you're dealing with alopecia, you are also needing to customize that plan when it comes to diet. Why? Well, because if you're a diabetic, you have a special diet. If you are going through cancer or chemo, you have a special diet. If you're a child, you have a different diet. If you have alopecia, the diet also changes. And again, I don't know what they teach you in school for as a nutritionist or as a dietitian, but to my understanding, it's all very general. Nothing is very specific, because if it was specific and if you knew and had all the information, then I wouldn't have had clients that are nutritionists, that are dietitians, that are personal trainers who come to me with alopecia and with massive hair loss. And it's not recent, it's over years. So again, I think there's a disconnect in the education that many receive, and even that doctors receive, because if the doctor could have helped me or you or anyone else, then again, we wouldn't be here. But that's not the case. So I think there's a huge disconnect in the education and in the education system. I also think there's a huge disconnect in how we perceive what diet looks like. And some of you are afraid of diet. Some of you are afraid of changes to your diet. And that's something that I can walk you off the ledge off, because the diet that I customize to you is not necessarily long-term. It's short-term. It's short-term, and it's to boost your health, but at the same time, it's to also clear the clutter. To not say another word, it's to clear the clutter of anything that's not serving you, anything that's not helping you achieve those results. And so in my program, we clear the clutter, we boost your health, and this is part of it. This is what's needed. And what you define as healthy many times is not correct. And when I say you, I mean everyone, including myself. Because back in, 6-7 years ago, when I had alopecia, I thought health looked a certain way. I thought it was a certain way in terms of food and everything. And again, I was at my fittest. I was super fit. I was super healthy. And yet I wasn't, because I still got alopecia. And so I also had blind spots. I also didn't realize, and I had a lot of blind spots in my diet. How's that? I had a lot of blind spots in my diet, and I ate a lot of things that I thought were healthy, that, people on TV, that doctors were saying, hey, these are healthy foods for you. Well, they're not healthy for someone with alopecia. So, you know what I mean? So what could be healthy for the regular person is not necessarily healthy for someone with alopecia. Imagine that. Huge aha moment there for you, I'm sure, because that's the truth. Someone going through another illness or disease can or cannot have grapefruit because it mixes in with their medication, or because it's not good for them. It's having too much citrus. I'm sure you guys have seen that, where on the medication it says, don't eat grapefruit with this medication, don't have citrus, or don't do this, because it'll affect your body. It'll affect how you absorb maybe the medication, or how it just functions within. Well, Grapefruits are healthy, so is citrus. And why not? Well, it's because of those side effects. And again, the way you define health, the way you define the appropriate diet for someone with alopecia is very different. And then on top of it, if you have those allergies, if you have, certain values with food, certain things you eat and don't eat, certain things that you won't eat, certain things that you think is right, which could also be holding you back. I know there was a couple of food items that were holding me back. Actually, yeah, more than a handful. And those are things that you think they're fine and they're not fine. And this is why diet alone does not heal alopecia. In our next episode, we will be talking about fertility and this beautiful opportunity of fertility and this journey. But at the same time, how most medications also hinder your fertility. And when I talk about medications, it's alopecia medications, and how many times those risks and side effects are not talked about. They're unknown. And when you want something to happen, then it's almost too late. So I look forward to talking to you then. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.